What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ben and JB from JBM Sports Media, and today we're going to be continuing our MLB season projection series, and we're going to the NL Central. We already did the Brewers, we already did the Pirates, we already did the Cardinals. So today we're talking about the Red Machine that is the Cincinnati Reds. JB, what do you think about this 2026 Cincinnati Reds lineup right here?
Obviously you got to love the addition of Suarez back in Cincinnati for a second stint there. Obviously TJ Friedl was actually one of their best hitters last year. A guy with the qualifying 200 plate appearances. He was one of the best on this team last year. I love Noel Marte. Hopefully he could come into his own in that two spot. I love obviously Ellie De La Cruz, but I do want to see an improvement from him. I think he's going to get the stolen bases up a little bit more. I think he has to be a little bit more aggressive with stealing bags. I think he's got too much speed and too much talent to be hovering in the 36 to 37 stolen base range. I think he should be hitting 50 close to every year. I think there's no excuse. I think he has to put his team and that other part of that lineup in a better position to score some runs. And if he's on second base, he could score easily on a single. So I think he needs to be more aware of that. Obviously, Spencer Steer is another good, solid ball player. He was one of the only two players on this team to hit 20 home runs besides Ellie De La Cruz. So he's got some pop. Sal Stewart, obviously it's a 50-50 ball game with him. Hopefully you get some good, decent production there. Tyler Stevenson is not a horrible catcher. He pretty decent hitter. Matt McLean has been solid, and Brian Hayes is really known for his defense, not really much for his offensive output. So this lineup, I think obviously adding Suarez, like I said, was a huge piece. I think they needed a right-handed power bat. They were able to get that. And Great American Ballpark is definitely a hitter's park. So I think Suarez will fit in obviously nicely there. Like I said, it's a good reunion. Hopefully Ellie could get his power numbers up. He had 22 home runs last year. I think he's capable of hitting 30. So hopefully he can do that. And if Friedel is, setting the tone at the top of this lineup, I think this lineup will score some runs. And they could be a formidable lineup. So we'll see what happens in 2026.
Yeah, I do like the addition of Suarez as well. They needed the pop that Suarez brings to the lineup, and obviously he did fade away towards like the second half with the Mariners. I think in that ballpark, Great American Ballpark, a hitter-friendly ballpark, he's already got used to it before. So same thing. I think we're gonna see some good pop right there from Suarez, and it was kind of unfortunate how they went about it with Kyle Schwarber. Obviously, they missed on him than what the owner said with everything that had to do with free agency. But they got Suarez at the end, which is still an upgrade. They needed the pop. One name that I'll say I'm a big fan, Sal Stewart. We got a little glimpse of him last year. I think he's a very promising prospect right here that if he does stay fully healthy for a year, I could see him being a major focal point in this Reds offense. Ellie De La Cruz, like you said, his stolen base was down last year, and that was a little bit surprising because
Yeah.
this is a guy that a lot of people had maybe stealing 70, 75, 80, maybe even potentially. And we need to see a tick in that up. I think it needs to be. And like you said, pop as well. Obviously it's a thing where he hits better from the left side than he does in the right side. So is that something he'll take into account this year? Who knows? We'll see. Matt McLean, that's the guy I really want to stay healthy because he's a talented ball player, and if he stays healthy, that's only a major plus for this Reds lineup. Brian Hayes, like you said, he's there for the defense, and that's pretty much it. Marte, I think he's very intriguing in the sense that like he could play right field, he could play left field, but I think he's a little hit or miss if you ask me. And then TJ Friedl, like you said, incredible year. I had him in my fantasy team that I won, and he played great. He played absolutely great. So this Reds lineup is actually not too shabby at all. I think Geno Suarez being added, Spencer Steer, another ball player right there that I think is going to bring you decent production. Ellie De La Cruz, what type of production will he give you? Will he give you MVP level production? Or will he give you All Star level production? That's the one question I do have in the back of my mind right now. So when it comes to this lineup, I don't think it's the end of the world at all right here. But let's get into the starting rotation led by Hunter Green, who we did get some news from earlier today. Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, Brady Singer, and Rhett Lauder. JV, what do you think about this Reds rotation for 2026?
I love it. Excuse me. I love it. I think it's a really good, really good rotation. I think Hunter Green, he has to stay healthy, bro. He's got to stay healthy. It's literally a hit or miss with him every year. Andrew Abbott was really good. Nick Lodolo was really solid. Those are two good lefties that they have. Brady Singer was a little bit of a disappointment for me. I think he's going to step it up and really come into his own in the bottom of that rotation. And Rhett Lauder, obviously being a prospect they really relied on, early in the year last year. We'll see what happens here at the bottom of this rotation, rounding it out. But if Hunter Green, they only go as good as Hunter Green goes. If Hunter Green is not going to be healthy, there's so much pressure on Andrew Abbott and Lodolo to have to anchor the staff and be the key guys to contribute here. And they're going to really need Brady Singer to step up. Like I said, I think it was a little bit of an underwhelming year last year for him. This team did finish 18th in ERA, which was pretty impressive. I think they had a 4.08 ERA as a team, which is pretty solid. I think the better part of it came from this rotation. So if they could replicate the year they had last year, I think they could have a really good year with this rotation. But like I said, health is going to be the main focal point for the success of this team.
I absolutely agree with you. I think when it comes to their health right here, we got the news that Hunter Green actually is going for MRI on his elbow, and that's no good. Obviously, he did say that he does believe the UCL is intact, but still, when it came to Hunter Green and health, that's the big issue with it because he was out for at least a month and a half last year with some back pain. So that's not good. I didn't like hearing that. I think that puts a
No.
big damp in how we look at this Reds rotation and maybe how we look at the over under win total as well. Andrew Abbott, I think he's going to take a little bit of a step back. I think he kind of over exceeded last year. But Nick Lodolo, I think, is a very talented pitcher. But same thing with him. He just be having some freak injuries at times as well. And that's one thing that I think they'll have to, basically say, you got to stay healthy, bro, because we know how much of a fundamental piece you are in this rotation and on this team. Brady Singer, like you said, could be hit or miss. He could be hit or miss. And Rhett Lauder, finally, we're going to get a full year from him. He was injured last year to start off the year, but we're going to get a full year of him in the starting rotation. Obviously, he was drafted, I believe, in 2023. So it's time to see what he got. But yeah, it's just unfortunate with the report that came out with Hunter Green earlier because we know how much dictates around this rotation around him and how much the team kind of rallies around him as well. I think he's one of those pivotal pieces on this team right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, definitely, good. It's a good point that you brought up with Hunter Green. This MRI that he has to get. If this happens to be something that's going to be long term, maybe like let's say 2 months, they're cooked. They're cooked. I'm sorry.
Yes, you're right.
We're going to get this. Listen, I do like Andrew Abbott. I think he had a great year last year. I really do. Is he going to be able to replicate it the same exact season? I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I have
Yeah.
confidence that he could do it, but like I said, that 3, 4, and 5 are going to have to be really good. If you're 1 and 2 are going to be mediocre or not even present. So it's going to put a lot of pressure. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out.
Yeah, and I was just making sure. It does look like I don't know if it was a tightness that he felt or a soreness, but he's going to go get that checked out, which is never good to hear when it comes to a starting pitcher going to get the elbow checked out. Um, I
No,
really do want to see Lodolo healthy, though. I'll say that. I think he's a great piece in this rotation if he stays healthy. He might be a sneaky, sneaky pick in fantasy baseball. That's all I will say because he brings the strikeouts, that's for sure. But now let's get into our Reds bullpen for 2026. They brought back Emilio Pagan as their closer. They still have Tony Centellin, Graham Ashcraft, Brock Burke, Pierce Johnson. They brought Caleb Ferguson. They brought so it's a little bit of a revamped bullpen, to be honest, right here. JV, what do you think about it?
yeah, they got 3 lefties in this bullpen too, with Sam Mole, joining Ferguson and Brock Burke. I'm not. I'm totally cool with Emilio Pagan. That's totally fine. Tony Santillán is another good pitcher. Graham Ashcraft is okay. So their bridge in the seventh, eighth, and ninth, is pretty good. The middle of that pen is where I have a problem. Caleb Ferguson, who knows what you're going to get from him? I watched him as a Yankee. He wasn't too great, and wasn't good, to mix and match with either. He just wasn't good. So let's see what happens with that. Pierce Johnson, it's another hit or miss. Connor Phillips, another hit or miss. Sam Mole, he's been pretty decent. He can give you a couple of outs. I think he can give you 6 outs, on every given day. So he can give you 2 innings of work if needed. But like I said, the middle of this pen is to me is a little suspect, and I think the bridge to Pagan, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys perform to get to the bridge. I think this is a little bit of a weak point for the Cincinnati Reds, if you ask me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just has interesting names, like I said, Caleb Ferguson. I think that's a guy that they just brought in to like be a depth piece in the bullpen, I guess. Brock Burke, I do like. Graham Ashcraft, I do like as well. But yeah, how are these gonna have these guys like Connor Phillips, Sam Mole? or Sam Mullen and Pierce Johnson, how are they going to step up in situations where they're needed, especially if the pitcher gets hit early a little bit, they get brought into the mix. How are they going to step up? So that's going to be a great point to see how that really does play out throughout the year. So now, after everything we said, it's time to talk about our over-under for the Cincinnati Reds in 2026. And the line right here, brought to you by FanDuel, is 80.5. JB, what are you thinking?
I'm actually gonna say they go 81 and 81. I think this is a 500 ball club. I think they just barely make the over. But I do see that, they're gonna steal some wins. I think offensively they'll be able to match up with a lot of teams, especially in their division. I think they'll be able to fight tooth and nail, with the Brewers and the Cubs and the Pirates. I think that, it's going to be nice battles in that division, to be honest with you. And I think right now their starting pitching has a shimmer of hope if there's health there, and their lineup, could be really good. Like I said, if Ellie, if he's on first base, to me, he's got to think about swiping second base and getting in scoring position and helping his team be in positions to have runners in scoring position and get him in. So I see them only getting one more win than this total. So I'm going to say 81 and 81 for the Cincinnati Reds in 2026.
You know what? I do think that they're going to go over. I think I'm going to go with 82 and 80, to be honest. I think that they're a team that this is going to be a pesky team. I think they do, or they could take a step down from last year. Obviously, they were a playoff team this year. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year. But I think it's still going to be a pesky, scrappy team that's going to cause teams problems, especially the good teams. They're going to be all like, oh, especially if Hunter Green is okay, or if Andrew Abbott does play like he did last year, does pitch like he did last year. I think they're going to be just fine when it comes to competing. But that bullpen does scare me a little bit. I think they might drop a few games because of it. So I'm going to go 82 and 80. Are we being too harsh on the Reds this year? Let us know what you guys think. Obviously, we'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section. As always, make sure to follow us on TikTok and IG at JBM Sports Media. Subscribe here on YouTube. Till next time, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.